Hey guys, welcome to my Immortal Valkyr guide. Now, every Valkyr build, hypothetically, is supposed to be an Immortal Valkyr build, but usually he has energy problems sustaining his for forever, and you might find ways to deal with it, but this build is going to allow us to play with a new toy we got in the most recent update to allow Valkyr to stay invulnerable practically forever. Yeah, that's the whole point of the build, basically. We're going to pull enemies and group them together. We're going to apply slash to them, and then we're going to kill them with our melee weapon and rinse and repeat. What's going to allow us to maintain our energy is the new ability from Citrine called Fractured Blast. This is going to make enemies that we kill have a decent percent to drop health and energy orbs. We're going to take advantage of the higher drop chance of health orbs by converting it with equilibrium into energy with a plus 110% energy conversion rate. The reason we choose Mult-Efficiency is that while we're invulnerable, we do not lose shields, so we can take full advantage of Mult-Efficiency, and that's one of the only arcanes that I have that are any good. Mult Reconstruct heals, we don't need that. Arcane Rage on headshot, but we're using melee. I guess you could use Arcane Nullifier instead if you really opt to, but Arcane Avenger, for example, requires you to be damaged, but you can't be damaged because you're invulnerable. Keep all that in mind. Arcane Energize we don't need because we're going to be utilizing an ability to gain energy. Arcane Grace is again another healing arcane, so among the possible arcanes, I think Mult-Efficiency is possibly the best one besides Mult Augmented. So this one's going to give us extra ability strength. This one's going to give us extra ability duration. Ability duration is going to help us with the cost of Hysteria, even though it's not really needed. We're going to have plenty of energy. Now you could go with this build in two ways. You could go with Steel Charge, or you could go with Growing Power. I prefer to go with Steel Charge because this is going to give us a melee damage increase. Because we already have ability strength taken care of, an extra 60% ability strength from Mult Augmented, which is going to just be a flat increase, non-conditional, like Growing Power is conditional. And this is also not conditional, so that's why it's, I think, a little bit better. You could also opt to use Archon mods if you mod your weapon accordingly, but here's a few notes about this. Archon Stretch is not going to benefit you at all because energy regeneration is disabled while Hysteria is active. Archon Flow might be helpful, but we don't really have any abilities that deal cold damage, so this is, again, questionably useful at best. I mean, maybe if some ally has a way to buff you with cold or something like that, again, that's not really useful. The only thing I can find useful here is either Archon Vitality, because this just adds extra heat damage, or Archon Continuity, which adds an extra corrosive status every time you deal toxin damage, which would be pretty nice. I mean, it's possible you could go with Archon Continuity. It's the only one I can think of actually replacing, because Archon Vitality is going to take a mod slot that we don't need. We don't need extra health when we're invulnerable. One last thing is Prolonged Paralysis is going to allow us to group enemies so that we can kill all of them very easily with Hysteria and a melee weapon. We're using Hysterical Assault because why the hell not? It goes in the Exilis slot, and it's probably best in slot if you have an augment that can go there. And it allows you to essentially jump, I don't know, what is this, like across an entire tile set by just blocking and then attacking an enemy. Yep. That's as far as this thing goes. You're going to want to also buff yourself with Warcry. We don't really need to discuss any of the weapons because you could just take whatever you want. We're not going to be using them. And this is essentially the Valkyr Prime Talons that I'm going to be using. I'm going to be using Viral on them because that's going to allow us to do Viral Slash with Fractured Blast and whatever slash procs we're not going to get from our melee weapon are going to be enabled by Fractured Blast. And Fractured Blast is going to be applied very easily to enemies in conjunction with prolonged paralysis. Yep, without further ado, let's get into a mission to showcase all this thing. Oh, one last thing, sorry. You want to take a sentinel. You don't want to take a pet, because sentinels become invulnerable while you become invulnerable. And we need our pet to have, at the very least, synth fiber to take full advantage of equilibrium. Yep, without further ado, let's get into a Steel Path mission to showcase what this build can do. It's a pretty run-of-the-mill Valkyr build, essentially, except that this is going to replace a bunch of other energy income Helminth abilities that other builds would utilize. Some people, for example, like to use Gara's mirror ability with its augment. But that has a few downsides. It requires enemies to target them. It requires an augment. This I find to be a little bit more reliable. And of course your teammates are going to appreciate the health orbs as well.
I'm sending life support capsules your way.
We're going to wait for a few enemies to show up. We now cast Hysteria. Oh, what the hell is going on? Yeah, sorry about that. I misclicked. That was stupid of me. Nope, so we start with Hysteria. Pull all enemies with prolonged paralysis. We apply slash procs to them, and we kill them. I would recommend locking your melee weapon as well, like I'm doing right now. Now we cast Warcry, pull all enemies, apply slashes to them, and we just kill them. Not really much to talk about. Really, as far as this build goes, it's pretty simple in what it does. But as you can see, I'll have absolutely no trouble maintaining my energy at all. The one thing I think you might have to watch out for is if Acolytes happen to have the ability to disable your invulnerability. I'm not sure if any of them do. There might be one that does, and if that's the case, then you'll just have to pay attention to that. Warcry makes this a lot easier. If the Acolyte doesn't show up soon, I guess I'll just exit the mission and end the video here. Don't want to waste too much of your time. But if he does show up, I have already 12 combo to hit him with. Prolonged paralysis also slows them down by a lot. So you're speeding up your teammates, you're dropping lots of health orbs for them, and you're slowing down enemies. So you could consider this kind of a support build, a support tank build if you really want. Eximate units are not going to get pulled, but they will drop orbs and they will take the slash damage. I tried this with a Panzer Volpafilla and it helps you kill enemies faster. The problem is, they occasionally die, and when they die you can't pick up any more orbs. Yep. And here he comes. Come on, dude. Oh, what the hell? Where is this guy? Yep. That's pretty much it. Have a good day, guys.